Welcome back, everybody, to another Football Friday here on 305 Takes. Today, Angel and I will be discussing a Sunday night football matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll be bouncing around, giving out some fantasy football tips. I got a discussion that I need to be talked out this week going into my matchup as well. So we'll be hitting fantasy football as we bounce around on this episode, and then of course give out some of the best bets that we're looking at the rest of the NFL schedule, the games that we're most intrigued by in this week of the NFL, which it's not the most intriguing as far as matchups, but we do have potentially some teams that could clinch a playoff spot. Some teams that are definitely still working their way into the playoff mix. So it should be a good week and some interesting matchups to dissect. So let's get straight into it, Angel.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go with the Dolphins versus the Los Angeles Chargers. And I wasn't able to join the pod on Monday, but the Dolphins suffer a defeat to the San Francisco 49ers with, I mean, I was saying it's the third string quarterback, but
It's
now
a
that
third string quarterback.
yeah, but the thing is,
Mr. Irrelevant.
yeah, but Garoppolo wasn't there during the offseason, so he was essentially the number two. And then Lance gets hurt in week three. So then Garoppolo's the number one again, and this guy's the number two, which, I mean, it's splitting hairs, but the Dolphins do suffer defeat to Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. And now they have another LA test or California test where they face off against they face off against the Los Angeles Chargers this week in a game that was moved to Sunday Night Football. And the big matchup everybody's going to be talking about is that it is Tua versus Justin Herbert. And, Tua definitely was seeing, I would say, definitely seeing a little bit of ghost against the San Francisco 49ers. That is one of the best, I would say, probably the best defensive line that we have in the NFL. So, and he was going up against them without his two starting tackles. So I do give him kind of a break, but there were a lot of passes that he just completely missed in that game. So I don't think that they can have a similar result as far as the quarterback position in this game and win the game. However, I do think that this Chargers team, we saw it last year, we've seen it some this year. I just don't like them against the run. I don't think that they have a
Or
lot of
the
guys that
pass.
can. Yeah, the pass. The only thing is that they have Derwin, they do have Bosa, they have Khalil Mack. So if the pass rush can, generate some pressure on Tua, I could see a performance similar to the San Francisco game. But really, for me, even more than the big picture of okay, that this is Tua and Herbert, I think this is a really pivotal stretch for Tua's career because going into the San Francisco matchup, like it was like, all right, let's see him against a really good defensive line, a really good defense, and Bosa absolutely killed 3.5 sacks in the game, and you know I do think it wasn't Tua's best game after the first pass. If you looked at Twitter, everybody two MVP, two
Yeah.
MVP. That
It
first
was
pass,
not good. It was
it,
just
it,
simply not good. Like how you
yeah,
said, bro, Tua had a lot of bad passes. There's a lot of passes that were underthrown to Jalen Waddle or an overthrow to Tyreek. Even even the all the time the catch that Kasicki had that wasn't a catch on fourth down. And I was like, Tua is just simply it's not a good game. The numbers will say he had an okay game, but it was just simply not good.
yeah, the accuracy was definitely not there, and that's like the thing with him is that he's supposed to be this accurate quarterback. So it wasn't a good game as far as that goes, but I do like the matchup this week because I don't really like the Chargers defense. However, I'm very scared of them being able to hit and complete big plays against the Dolphins defense, especially because Herbert's a guy that can extend the plays. Even if the pass rush gets to him, it might not be the first defender to be able to take him down, and he can still throw from off platform. So it's not even like he needs to be completely set. So I do think this is an interesting stretch for the Dolphins because they just came off the game against the 49ers. Now they're in LA to play the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. And then the week after is a Saturday night game against the Bills. So I really think that, for Tua, this is an important stretch because a lot of people were skeptical going into the season. He put a lot of that to bed during his performance throughout the season, but now, it's still not a guarantee that they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Jets are still right there. They have a big matchup this week against the Bills. The Bills were able to take advantage of the Dolphins losing last week against the San Francisco 49ers. So and then you have that Saturday game coming up, which could probably be for the division winner. And home field advantage for the playoffs. So I really do think that this is a big stretch. But to focus on this LA game, I think if they can get the running game going, I really think that the Dolphins have a shot to win. As far as like betting on this one, the 3.5 really, really scares me. I don't really like I don't really like anything as far as betting goes in this game. I would look at, especially when the prop lines start coming out, I would look at Waddle or Tyreek receptions because I do think that they're going to be heavily involved in the game plan. But
Eckler touchdowns. I could see anytime Eckler touchdown.
yeah, definitely. And I honestly I could see Palmer getting a little bit active because I don't think the Dolphins have the best coverage linebackers, and they do still have Gerald Everett, but he's been kind of faded a little bit more out of the game plan ever since that that pick six against Kansas City where he didn't show the best of effort there. So
Yeah.
I do think it's an interesting matchup. The only thing that I don't want to happen from the game, regardless of which quarterback it is, but if one of them struggles, I don't think that that means the one team won that draft. But I
Yeah.
still, for me personally, I still think Burrow's the best quarterback from the draft. I think the Bengals are the one that no matter what happens, they made the right decision. As far as Tua and Herbert goes, I think it's just really dependent on their situation because
Yeah.
Tua did not have a good situation coming in. Now he's got an offensive minded coach. He's got really good receivers. He's got a running game that is hot and cold, but really the biggest thing is that the offensive line outside of last week and when Armstead has been healthy has been really a really strong unit. So that's the thing. And then you look at Herbert. I saw the stat. Did you see the stat floating around that he's like third in the NFL in passing yards, and they don't have a receiver over 600 receiving yards?
Yeah, they don't because it's a lot of injuries. That's the thing with the
Yeah,
Chargers every year. They're always injured. It just
yeah.
doesn't matter.
And yeah, they've had Keenan Allen in and out of the lineup. They've had Mike Williams in and out of the lineup, DeAndre Carter in and out of the lineup. So he's definitely had to spread the ball out a lot and to different people. But, you can say it's, him making some of these guys better, but I also think that they've done a good job finding, undervalued guys, whether it
Mhm.
was when he was a rookie, when they had the Guyton kid where he hit him for that long touchdown against Tampa Bay, whether it's DeAndre Carter, he's, had some big catches and some big touchdowns for them as well. So I think, and Josh Palmer, Gerald Everett, guys like that, I don't think, he's necessarily at a deficit as far as the skill guys, but it's definitely not the skill position group that they envision starting the season with.
Yeah. I would just say in terms of this game, I mean, I do think the Dolphins will bounce back. I feel like Tua will have a much better performance than he did last week just because the Chargers defense, you figured with all the acquisitions they made in the offseason of getting a JC Jackson, a Khalil Mack, Sebastian Joseph Day, their defense would be top of the line. But they're just simply not good. And that's I think a real big red flag on Brandon Staley because that's his calling card. And they're just not good on defense. So I believe that Tyreek will have a real good day. The previous game when they played the Raiders, no, Adams had a huge day, so I'm expecting Tyreek to have a big day, or maybe Waddle 1 to 2. I feel like one of them is gonna have a monster day, while the other one will have more of like just an average day. And then for the Chargers, man, if the Chargers were a little bit healthier and had a little bit more guys playing, I would pick the Chargers, just because I feel like their offense is not afraid to push the ball because since they know that there's a lot of situations they're down, they're just going to air it out. Whereas the Dolphins, you generally do see more of a game plan and scheme because they're trying to use Tua's abilities, which we could be honest, Tua's not doesn't have the strongest arm. He's accurate. Tua's not going to try to throw a laser 50 yards like on a rope right on the guy's chest. No, him is like, all right, I'm just going to hit the guy's chest like within 20 yards. It's not going to be the fastest pass, but it's going to get to him. So
Yeah.
that's where I see it with Tua and that offense. But if the Dolphins could get that running game going early, like you said, I feel like this makes it a much easier game for the Dolphins because then they could really dictate how the game goes. And
And I
then,
w and also I think just because Tua's been on the injury report because of, the ankle injury he
yeah,
got, when he was getting sacked, I think that that even
it will
adds
help.
more importance to get the running game going.
Yeah. And if they get the running game going, there'll be less times where maybe Tua's in a potential to well, less opportunities to be potentially hurt because whether they've been good or not, they still have Bosa, they still have Khalil Mack. Those are real
Yeah.
scary pass rushers. Whether they've been good the whole year or not, it's still there. So I do see it could be going any way, but if I had to pick a winner, I think the Dolphins very much can win this game because whether it's in Miami or not, I do feel like there's going to be a very good amount of Dolphins fans here compared to Chargers fans. Just because I don't know whose really home stadium it is, the Rams or the Chargers, because half of the time their
It's
fans
the other
aren't even the
teams.
most fans.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's going to be a strong contingent of Dolphins fans there, especially with the hype of the game being moved up to Sunday
Sunday
Night
night.
Football, and you already have the drama, or the off the field storylines with the quarterback position. So I do expect a good amount of Dolphins fans there, and really the Chargers, it happens to them and it happens to the Rams too. It happens, I would say, at least 3, 4 times a season where they're just simply outnumbered. I don't know if the
Yeah.
Dolphins fans will travel like that because we've seen it with the Cowboys, with the Steelers when they've gone there and played either one of these teams, and the 49ers most famously against the Rams both times that they played last year. So I do think that'll be a key to the game. And then honestly, for me, the Dolphins pass rush can hold a huge key to this game. So
Yeah,
if you
Bradley
look at
Chubb has got to step up.
if you
Uh,
look at the two quarterbacks passer rating in a clean pocket, Tua's at 117.1. Justin Herbert's at 102.8. When you go under pressure, obviously it's going to take a decrease. Tua goes down to 92.6, which is still really good. Justin Herbert, however, goes from 102.8 to 71 passer
yeah,
rating under pressure. So if the Dolphin, and this is an offensive line that's missing Slater, they're also missing their center. What's his name?
yeah, he was with
Lindsley.
the Packers.
Yeah, what here, I'll pull it up right now. Oh yeah, Corey Lindsley is also questionable for this game. So I saw some reports that it looks like he will not be able to suit up, but because the game is at 8 o'clock, I'm sure they're going to give him every opportunity to go ahead and try to give it a go. But if the Dolphins defensive line can actually get after the quarterback and force Herbert to play outside of the pocket, then I
Yeah.
do think that this is the best chance because I get that we still have Xavier Howard, but I'm not the biggest fan of this secondary, and honestly, not the biggest fan of this defense in
Well,
general.
yeah. It's kind of surreal how big of a 180 twist this team went under Brian Flores
Yeah,
to Mike McDaniel because last year the defense could do no wrong whatsoever, and now it's the offense this year. While
yeah,
the defense it's being carried.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a complete flip from what we've seen the last 2 years, where the offense needed to be carried by the defense. But I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch, and I'm excited to see it. And I want to see how the Dolphins offense looks because Waddle was open a lot against San Francisco.
He was open, but Tua just kept missing him.
Couldn't get it to him, and he couldn't get it to him, and it honestly looked like he kinda injured himself trying to make one of these spectacular catches on one of these passes that was
Yep.
not accurate. So I wanna see how that looks if he's how what his health is going into the game, how Tua looks going into the game because his leg did bend pretty awkwardly, in that hit that he took that caused him to start popping up on the injury report, and, for the Chargers side of the ball, I think if the Dolphins can't get home as far as the pass rush, I think it could honestly be a big game for Herbert.
It very much could. The Chargers kind of their offense has to play like they did on that Sunday night against the Chiefs. They have to play that way, and if they don't, I don't see them winning. But I do. Before we talk about fantasy football, I do want to tell you something pretty funny. So I'm on TikTok the other day, and then I come across a video of someone we had on this podcast who plays in Miles's league, and he was doing the punishment. And next thing I know, he calls out Myles in the middle of it. And then he just, I don't know who he said. I didn't hear it clear, but he didn't say Miles was winning. He says someone else was winning. And I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like,
so
you want to talk about entertainment? That was pure entertainment for
yeah,
me.
that was a
Pure
great video.
entertainment.
So my boy Dan, we went up to Orlando this weekend. I had a fantasy week from hell. So I told you guys that we had a bunch of teams. We had 4 teams tied at 8-4. I either needed to win or I needed the 1 seed to win, so I was in because I had the points for advantage. My team put up an absolute stink bomb. So I had Lamar, who we all know got injured, put up the 1 point for me. I had, and then the real kick was that I had my bench just go off. So last week I had Lamar scored 1 point, Dalvin put up 15, Pollard put up 23, Higgins puts up 11, and then I get 1 point from Waddle, 5 points from Kelsey, 3 points from Walker. My bench is 12 points from Taysom Hill, 19 points from Justin Fields, 18 points from uh, Devonta Smith, 13 points from James Cook, and 19 points from Greg Zerline. So I literally just insert any of those guys into my starting lineup last week and I win. But the 1 seed goes ahead and takes care of business for me. So I'm in the playoffs. The only real sweat is that for our league, whoever comes in last for points scored in the week, by Tuesday they need to send a video of them shotgunning a beer with an egg in it. So I'm up in Orlando with my boy Dan. I have nobody left to play. I was at 74 points. Dan going into that week still had, I believe he had Kamara playing on the Sunday night game, and I think he had one other person playing in that Sunday night game. Oh, he had the Bucks defense. So he was at 65-ish points going into Monday when we left Orlando, and he's like, dude, if I don't get 74 points, I'm going to be so upset. He finished with 67 points on the week, with Kamara just giving him 4 and the Bucks defense giving him 5. So he did not come even close to leaving me in last place. So he was a little bit salty in that video, but that video was amazing.
Oh my
Amazing.
god, bro. I was like, oh my
Amazing.
god, this is the greatest video I've ever seen in terms of a punishment.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And that was how we, because for our league, we do 2-week playoff matchups. So technically this week is our first week of playoffs.
No. Well, that one was good, but then now I want to transition you guys to something into the league that I'm playing with Myles, in the league that I'm the commissioner in. So some of the playoffs seeds are set. Myles is in the playoffs. Alex is in the playoffs. Nick is in the playoffs after starting off like 2-6. And Pete is in the playoffs. And now we're down to the last 2 seeds are down to 3 teams. Me, JP, and Dom.
Yeah, all at 7-6 going into
And
this
we're
week.
fighting for that. And I played JP this weekend.
Yeah.
Last week, and then Myles plays Dom. So on Tuesday, after like the results came in from the Monday night game, I'm doing out all my notes. So I calculated this. If Myles loses, well, if Dom beats Myles and JP beats me, I don't make the playoffs. Both of them go in by record. If I lose and Dominic loses to Myles, I go in because of points 4. If I win and Dominic wins, he gets in, and JP's not in the playoffs anymore. There's like so many scenarios, and I'm just like, oh my god, bro, this hurts my head.
Yeah.
And so when I'm playing JP yesterday, he had Josh Jacobs, Daniel Clarkson, and Tyler Higbee. He ended the night with 34.5 points from 3 players, which is good. That's actually
pretty good.
And so I'm like, oh my goodness. And then, oh man, my team last week, man, they just they laid an egg just like Myles. Lamar gave me one. If I would have started Trevor Lawrence, I had a better chance of winning. If I would have started Ramondre Stevenson over Aaron Jones, if I could have predicted
you text me about too. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have had 3 more points on that one. So like it didn't go my way, and I'm like,
Yeah, this is when it starts to eat at you because you need these victories and you need the points. It's not even like, okay, like, all right, I need these points just in case of the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Points 4, that I'm not really worried about because I'm right behind Myles. Myles has 1,810. I have 1,797. I'm like right there behind him in second.
Yeah.
So that part doesn't like bother me. But man, it really just eats at me. I'm like, oh my gosh. Those like 3 of the last like 4 weeks, there's games where I'm like, my team could have played so much better. But
Yeah,
they
I know.
laid an egg. And I had such a good performance from A.J. Brown. Justin Jefferson gave me 18 points. I thought that was like, all right, cool. Any other week, Justin Jefferson gives me more, but 18 points is still really good for a wide receiver. And then, man, the rest of my team, they just laid an egg. And I forgot who was the defense that I had. I picked up on one defense.
This week?
No, last week. I picked up one defense and I dropped them this week. But if I would have started the Eagles, I would have got 11 points.
Yeah.
Well, the one that I started gave me -1. So
It was the Falcons defense.
I started. And I was like, look who they were playing, the Steelers.
Yeah, I know.
I was like,
actually,
that was like a big brain move. I'm like, this is chess. Like, I'm going.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's actually low key a good pickup for you on your behalf because I thought they would at least get a turnover or something. A negative points against the Steelers defense.
But then Kenny Pickett, bro.
Yeah, he was
Not to say anything bad about Kenny Pickett. I hope he has a good career, but the Steelers offense, they're just not good. They're not good.
Yeah. And they were able to give that Falcons defense a -1. So I don't know what to do this week in my matchup. So we have 2-week playoff matchups, right? So because I lost last week, I was the last team to make the playoffs. So I'm facing the 1 seed who has pretty much run through our schedule this year, our league this year. He's 10-3. His roster is Burrow, Eckler, Saquon, Tyreek, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tight end, he's a little bit weak at. He's got Freiermuth, so whatever. Lockett at flex. He already started Raiders defense this week, gave him 9 points. And then he's got Gano at kicker. My problem is I like my team. I go Lamar, Dalvin, Pollard, Higgins, Waddle, Kelsey, and Kenneth Walker. My problem is Lamar isn't playing this week.
Kenneth Walker is hurt.
Yeah, and my backup quarterback is Justin Fields.
Who does he play this week?
He's on a bye. So what do I do at quarterback?
Well, what's available? Because
for
our league, I picked up Kirk Cousins for this weekend.
I saw that, yeah. So our league is Huntley, who's projected the most out of the free agent quarterbacks, Goff, Tannehill.
I would get Goff.
Yeah, Goff against Minnesota.
Bro, Goff is
Tannehill, Purdy, Mac Jones, Mike White.
I would get Goff just for the simple fact we saw what Mike White did to them.
Yeah.
All right, so the Lions offense, they're actually very good. We've talked highly about this offense.
I guess I'm going with Goff.
I would go Goff.
Damn. Yeah, so I'm just hoping I stay somewhat close this week in fantasy, just so that I can.
I mean, if the point differential could be like 10
yeah,
points.
That's what I'm saying. Because next week I'll get Fields back.
Yeah.
Next week I'll get Fields back. And then hopefully by then Walker's, healthy. I don't know. Do you think I should leave him in?
Because leave him in until you know his status, but make sure you have a real good person to switch right away.
Well, the only thing is that I can't really, because my 2 other running backs are Cook and Pollard. They both play at 1, and then the only other flexes that I have would be Devonta Smith, James Cook, who also play at 1.
And Kenneth Walker plays at 4, right?
4, yeah. So I'm kind of screwed.
The Eagles play the Giants, so.
Yeah, the Eagles play the Giants. The Bills play the Jets. I just can't believe James Cook had 12 points last week.
Yeah, but he is getting more
13 and a half. Yeah, I think he'll continue to get more touches. Honestly, I think this is what they wanted to do. As a team, it's just kind of save them for the end of the year, so that they had this juice. But I don't know. I need a big game from Kelsey, or I need a big game from Waddle. And then the thing is with Higgins is all right, yeah, he's still going to be somewhat productive, but I feel like it's going to be so much reliant on him getting touchdown now that Chase is back.
Yeah, it's going to be Jamar Chase. That is
going to be the new number 1.
Yeah, because if Jamar Chase is not there, Higgins gets so many targets.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what carried my team throughout the season. Once I went on a 4-game winning streak because I had Pollard came on, I had Kenneth Walker come on, and I had Higgins come on. So that's really what got me into the playoffs, especially with Higgins eating with Chase out. So I I want to win this league so bad just because I was the winner last year, and it's kind of similar to um our league. I'm second in points, and the only reason I'm second in points is because the stupid team I'm playing this week put up 192 points in a half PPR league, bro.
Half PPR.
Half PPR, he put up 192.
That's insane.
Dude,
If you
Burrow
could get
went
up to
for
like that
30.
without half PPR, that's honestly incredible. I
No,
have to give
insane.
like hats off.
Listen to what his team did. Burrow goes for 30, Eckler
Yeah.
goes for 10, Saquon for 16, Tyreek for 25, Amon-Ra for 29, 9 from Freiermuth, 23 from Lockett, 31 from the Browns defense.
Oh, yeah,
31 points. 18 from Robbie Gold.
yeah. I mentioned the Browns defense as one of the stars on Monday. I was like, hey, the Browns defense, we can say whatever they want. They got
3
30 points.
touchdowns. Well, one of
30
them was one of them was a special teams touchdown, but still.
That's 30 points is 30 points.
That's insane. His defense scored more than his starting quarterback.
Yeah. So I'm like, that was one of my stars, but man, that was there. Oh, and for this is a little off topic, but I sent Miles a video and I said it was from Cooper Cup, and I was like,
That was
dang,
hilarious.
I think Cooper Cup listens to us because I think he heard Miles once he got injured. Miles was like this, bro, I'm screwed. Like, there's
Yeah,
no way. Like, I'm screwed. He's not
that's it.
coming back.
There's no reason. There's
And
absolutely no reason.
and then I just see it, and when it's like this, I was like, huh, maybe it was Miles. Does Miles have a burner account on TikTok?
Yeah, just spam Cooper Cup's comment section.
It's like, bro, because of you, I'm gonna lose. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, he's definitely begun a lot of that. But I mean, we were freaking talking about it on the podcast from the beginning of the season. With it's just a lot to ask a guy to be that much of your offense. Like,
Yeah,
this is the NFL where literally fluke injuries happen all the time. Look at the Hollywood Brown was carrying the Cardinals offense with Hopkins out, and then he goes up for a pass, it gets intercepted, and the defender comes down on his ankle.
yep. Dang, and that's nuts. And
Yeah,
what's
so
crazy now is
fantasy's
like,
not even fun this week for me.
yeah,
Not
and
even fun.
well, I mean, and
In
I know
our
we
league,
gotta.
I'll be chilling. Yeah, our league, I'm chilling. Even
Well,
if I don't
you
get
have
that one pick.
Tyreek who's like questionable. Kenneth Walker's questionable.
Yeah, but at least I don't have to sweat out like I have to win to get in.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm like praying on like the backside. Don't get if he's listening to this, Dom. I'm sorry, but I really do mean it. If Miles beats him and I lose, like I'm just gonna be like so happy. I'll be like, oh my gosh, Miles saved me. Like I have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Like, but if Miles loses, I'm just gonna be like, bro, Miles, man. Like I'm like, bro, I'm your co-host. What the hell? Like, bro, come on.
Where's the loyalty?
Like, where is it?
Yeah, where is the loyalty, man? But we'll see. I'm just so dejected with the fact that I made it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Just
no, that one the
barely.
playoffs started, so you have that one. But then next week, our league, it's one and done.
Yeah,
It's like the legit NFL playoffs, one and done.
Yep. So you got to start performing. You got to set there's no, oh, I had 23 points on my bench. Like, you need to be on top of it.
Yep, and that's why this week, just in case if I make it to the playoffs, I have the Chiefs defense next week who play against the Houston Texans.
Oof. Oof. That's
I
big time.
made like that chess move now. I was like, bro, I got to make this a week in advance.
Yeah, that's big time.
Because, bro, if they could like give me 15 points, I'm solid with that. I don't have to get to
Super.
31.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't need to get to 31.
And then I picked up Kirk Cousins because I was like, all right. And because next week, if I were to make the playoffs, my lineup would be Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Justin Jefferson, AJ
No,
Brown,
you have a
Dalton
super
Schultz,
solid team.
Chris Godwin, Eagles defense, Tucker, and I got the Giants punter now.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a super solid team.
It's just, man, my team, it's so boomer bust. They'll either lay an egg or they're just going to pop off.
Well, you got screwed by Lamar.
But I also can't predict that.
Yeah,
If I would have
that
known
Lamar
he was
injury
going to
hurt
get
so
hurt,
many.
obviously I wouldn't have started him.
Yeah, that Lamar injury screwed a lot of people, and especially because trade deadline is already passed for most of the leagues.
Plan name for a quarterback.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't want to be that guy that's like that hits up one of the non-playoff teams, and be like, "Yo, drop your quarterback."
Yeah, what made me so mad, Man, I almost got all. I felt like I don't know. I'll have to genuinely ask him in person. I've really felt like I was close to getting Amon-Ra from Moyi, but it just didn't go through. But I would have traded AJ Brown, which eventually
And
would have been like a stack.
he gets spammed with targets, bro.
Yeah. That's
Amon-Ra
why,
gets
because I was like, I
spammed.
love AJ. I think AJ is a great receiver, but AJ does not get half the targets St. Brown gets.
Dude, he had the revenge game over revenge games, man.
Yeah. I mean, 2 touchdowns, but then I also look at last time when he had like that big game against the Steelers. Bro, he just fell off on the Nets game, and I was like, oh my God, AJ, man. Like,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm scared of this week. I wanted Amon-Ra because let me see. What was his schedule? I'm
They
gonna
play
pull
the
it up for you.
Vikings this week.
Yeah, he has the Vikings this week, but then it was like after
It's
he had the
Vikings,
Jets next
yeah,
week.
at Jets, at Panthers, Bears at home, at Packers.
That's what, yeah, Panthers, and then he ends it with the Bears. Like that was like my ticket. I was like, if I could get to championship weekend and I have St. Brown on my team, I am
Against the
going to
Bears.
destroy whoever is in my sight.
They play on New Year's Day.
Yeah. Man, that's
Yeah, he's gonna kill the Bears that game.
yeah.
And they still want to win games. So it's not like they're like, oh, our season's over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Their season's not like over, but they still like they're playing really good football.
And they're favorites against the 10-2 Vikings this week, which is insane.
Yeah, that's why I'm just hoping that the game is a shootout. If Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, and Jefferson all go off for like 20 points or more, I'm like, yo, please go. Go to overtime.
I honestly could see it. I mean, the over-under is 51.5 right now
Yeah.
for that
Uh,
game. So we'll see
but
what happens. I just can't believe that a 5-win team is a favorite
favorite at home.
over a freaking 10-win team.
Yeah. Oh, and what I'm gonna do, well, once the playoffs start, I actually am gonna like text everyone in our league that we're playing in and see like how did they like this fantasy football season? Because I really try to make sure this was competitive.
Yeah, and it really was, honestly.
Like for the standings to be what they are, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm gonna read the standings. The best record in the league is a tie between Myles and Alex at 9-4. Next best are Pete and Nick at 8-5. Then it's 3 teams: myself, JP, and Dom 7-6. We have Ed at 4-9, and then it's Ryan and Moy at 3-10.
Yeah.
Outside of 3 teams, it's been like a bloodbath. I
Yeah,
mean,
and even for me, I mean, even though I'm up there 2 weeks ago, I thought my season was over when I had Alex and I was down by freaking 30 points on that Monday night game. So it's not like I've just been like, oh, I'm cruising through this league.
yeah,
I
but with
was cruising when I had Cup and Hill.
yeah,
That's when
but
I was cruising.
now if you win this week, you get the bye.
Yeah, I know that would be pretty clutch.
And if you
Yep.
lose and Alex wins, I'm like, bro, you lost the bye.
Yeah,
Alex
I
takes it
know.
from you.
Yeah, that would be tough. Wait,
And
but wouldn't I get the second one?
no, that would be Nick. Whoever is like the first seed in each division, they get
Oh, it's
the
each division. Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if Nick wins this week and Peter loses, if Nick and Peter both win, whoever has the highest points gets the bye. If Nick wins and Peter loses, he gets the bye, and if vice versa, Peter wins, he and Nick loses, Peter gets the bye.
Damn. Yeah. So I need Alex to lose, honestly.
Yeah, or you just need to win and do me a
Yeah.
solid.
Yeah, that would be pretty clutch. That would be pretty
But
clutch.
also, bro, Alex is honestly, I feel like Alex has like the best team.
No, his
Bro,
team is stacked, bro. His team is
Jalen
stacked.
Hurts,
Yeah.
Eckler. Swift is probably the only one you could be iffy about because of the touchdowns that Jamal Williams gets.
He's a
Stephon Diggs,
vulture. Yeah. And he
Hollywood
got
Brown,
Hollywood. Yeah.
David Njoku is solid. Mike Williams, he can go off in a lot of games. The 49ers defense, awesome.
Solid. Yeah.
The Harrison Buckner, and then he has Cameron Johnson, the Houston Texans punter.
Which all they do is punt.
Yeah. Like Alex has the number 1 rank player at 3 positions: Jalen Hurts, Eckler, and Diggs. And his the worst one is Mike Williams at 46, and that's because he was hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. His team is stacked.
So I'm kind of worried to see who who plays him in like week 1. Because I mean, let me see. Well, next week he has sort of a tough schedule. The only thing it would be, I feel like Jalen Hurts when they play the Bears. I feel like that game might be over by like 3 quarters, and that's they might just sit the starters.
Is that before or after they play the Cowboys?
Before.
Oh, damn. Because I was gonna say once they play the Cowboys, if they win that
That's
one, they're
the
pretty
semifinals week.
okay. Because once they play the Cowboys, their season's pretty much over if they
Yeah,
win because they got the division wrapped up.
yeah. But I think that's enough fantasy football. Covered a lot.
Yeah, we can move on to the games that we like for Week 14 of the NFL season, and I was telling Angel before I got on. This is kind of a weird week. It's one of those weeks where we only have 3 games at 4 o'clock, and I think one of them definitely has the potential to get ugly early, and I think a second one does too, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Because we have 6 teams on a bye this week, which I don't get how we have 6 teams on a bye in week 14 of the NFL season. Do they not know that we like to gamble and play fantasy football? Like, come on, NFL, do better. But for me, the game that I'm most interested by is Browns Bengals.
That's not a bad game. It's not a bad
Joey
game.
B, I didn't know this until everybody. I mean, now it's like
Yeah, he
impossible.
hasn't won against the Browns.
Yeah, now it's like impossible to not know this because that's all that I've heard on TV this week. But Joey B, not since becoming the starting quarterback for the Bengals, has not been able to be victorious against the Cleveland Browns. And for anybody that watched any part of that Browns game against the Texans last week, Deshaun was clearly super rusty.
Rusty.
Oh my goodness, that was not a good performance at all, and he's going to get a lot of noise and hate coming this week as it is a division opponent. It's the Bengals. It's going to be his first matchup against an AFC North team, so I'm not expecting a warm welcome at all for him. But I do remember that Halloween game that they played on Monday night, and the Browns were, I would say, pretty dominant. I mean, they were able to get to Joey B a lot. They were deflecting passes. They got the one deflection that led to an
Yeah,
interception.
they just have their number. Like
Yeah,
that's
and the running game is the thing that scares me. Is that if Chubb and Hunt can be the production that we've seen
they have
throughout
a
the
very good
season
shot
for
at winning, but if they
yeah.
don't, like they're just simply not good.
Yeah, but the Bengals, for me, I just want to see them because I honestly think that we might look back, especially as we head into the playoffs, that this was like kind of when their season went up a notch. They got chased back, they beat the Chiefs. Now they're going against the Browns, the Ravens on the under the hand. Lamar's out. They're still the Ravens are still ahead in the AFC North because they have the tiebreaker over the Bengals right now. But I think that they might go on an absolute streak comparable to what they did last year when they ended up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's not bad. The game that I picked the Steelers and Ravens just because I'm. I don't know if there's many people that just share the same opinion. I actually like Tyler Huntley as a quarterback. I don't think
Yeah,
he's a
Huntley's
bad
good.
quarterback.
Yeah, Huntley's definitely good.
He has a lot of similar skill sets of Lamar. Obviously, not to the same level, but he can move, he can scramble, he can extend plays outside of the pocket. I feel like he's got a solid arm, not as strong as Lamar's, but still solid. And last year in the games that he went to cover for Lamar when Lamar got hurt, he played really well in some of those games.
Yeah, that Bears game, he was able to clutch out at the end last year, and even the Broncos game last year,
Yeah.
or last week, he was able to get the touchdown to go ahead and seal it. And
So that's why I really like Tyler Huntley. I feel like I expressed last year, I felt like he should have got a shot at somewhere else. Like I felt a team should have traded for him and say, hey, give him a shot to be a starter because I feel like he's earned it. That's just my opinion because I know he's not going to start if Lamar is there. He's not going
yeah,
to.
the thing is that I just feel bad for him because he's a good quarterback. I just think that offense sucks. Like I just
Yeah.
think they just need their quarterback to be as creative as possible. And
Mm-hmm.
they fortunate enough for them, they have 2 quarterbacks that are unconventional in the way that they play and that they can make plays on their feet. They can keep plays alive. So that's their one saving grace. But I do like this matchup too because the Steelers have been playing good football as of recent.
Yeah.
Pickett's been coming on a little bit more. They got to figure out what George Pickens is because He
They
is a
just
crazy
don't give him
person.
the ball, and he kind of showed it last
No,
week.
he's like, you're going to give me this football at some point during this game. He is a crazy
Well, that's
person,
the
but
NFL young boy.
literally the NFL's young boy. And, they made the decision to get Chase Claypool out of there, and now Pickens is kind of assuming that role. They still have Deontay. Fryermuth is, he's a solid starting tight end.
Solid,
And
solid.
as the defense gets more healthy, as TJ Watt continues to get healthy, I think this is going to be a challenge for this Ravens team. And honestly, if the Ravens aren't careful, I would not be surprised if they missed the playoffs.
Yeah,
I would
no,
not be
there's a very
surprised.
good possibility. Very good
Yeah, and
possibility.
especially because the Sunday night game between the Dolphins
If the
and the
Chargers
Chargers,
win, they're
that it
creeping up in that wild card spot.
yeah, that game has huge playoff implications for the AFC. And a lot of these teams still play each other. If you look at the Ravens schedule, I believe that they still have an outside of this one, they still have another matchup
The
with the
Steelers.
Steelers this season.
Yeah,
They
they
still have to
have the Browns, Falcons, Steelers, Bengals.
Yeah, so they still have to play 3 teams in their own division still,
Hmm.
and they're
Three
at 8 and
division
f
games, and those
yeah,
are tough.
yeah, they're at 8 and 4 right now in the division. Or they're at 8 and 4 overall in the record in the standings, and they are first place in the AFC North. But like I just said, I think that the Bengals are really starting to put it together. I was super impressed with their victory over Kansas City. So they really need this game, and this is going to be a tough one because you're going at Pittsburgh. You already know what that rivalry entails. It's going to be tough football, regardless of if you had your starting quarterback or not. Like, it's still going to be a tough matchup. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be tuned into that one. I don't think it's going to be the most entertaining game, but I am intrigued by it.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I would like for Tyler Huntley to play well because I feel like, hey, he's played well. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say he's played good or great. I'm not gonna say that, but I feel like he's played well enough to help them win, and I feel like he hasn't done anything to make them lose the game. So I would like for Tyler to get some opportunities, but I'm gonna share my last game that I'm excited for, mainly just for the simple fact I feel like we talked about it. I feel like it's going to be high scoring. I love the Lions Vikings game. It's not because of like the offenses. Yes, both offenses are good, but just also both defenses just can't stop the pass. They can't stop the pass. The Lions, we've said it the whole year. Offense is great, defense is bad.
yeah.
Vikings, it's almost like a bend don't break, but a lot of times they can be broken.
I mean, the Jets should have won that game last week. They gave
Yeah,
them every opportunity to.
every opportunity. So I'm
And the
like, the
Lions
Vikings,
are the Lions are playing really well. They
they're
beat
playing well.
they almost beat the Bills on Thanksgiving. They
Yep.
beat who they beat last they beat the hell out of the Jaguars last
Giants.
week.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
embarrassing.
they beat the Giants, so like they've been on a good streak here. And I know that they're and you know what's actually crazy? If the Rams don't win the Super Bowl last year and Goff is playing like how he is this year, there's real questions on if that trade was good. Like
Yeah, no, the Rams are on track to have a top 5 pick.
the Rams need to be super, super thankful that they won the Super Bowl last year,
Yeah,
because that trade does not look good if they don't get that return on investment in
yeah,
Stafford. And
and
now just looking forward to the future with the no picks and Stafford being injured, and the fact that you had to bring freaking Baker Mayfield in out of nowhere to save your game last night is
the
crazy.
Lions are potentially they could build something good because if that ends up being like a top 5 pick, that first round for this year from the Rams,
Yeah.
plus their own pick, that's you could start to build something.
Yeah, and they've already invested in 2 key positions with Aiden Hutchinson being drafted last year, with Penei Sewell the year before that. They're getting Jamison Williams back. He played last week for the first time. They already have Amon-Ra, who's really good. They got some more picks from the Vikings for trading Hawkinson. So they definitely have the potential to start. And especially when you look at the NFC North, like, all right, the Packers fell off. We'll see how they come back, but I don't think any of us are assuming that they're just going to go back to being the 11-win team that they were the last 2 years. The Vikings, I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding, that the fact that they have 10 wins and they're not favorites in this game. And then you have the Bears, which, okay, they do have Fields, which is a huge building block to go with. But, they just traded Roquan Smith. They still need a lot of help as far as skill positions at offense.
They
So,
need a lot of help because most of the time it's Justin Fields or bust.
yeah, literally. And that's even with Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. They need help. They need help on the offensive line. They need, I would say, at least 2 more pass catchers. Even
Yeah.
with Komet and trading for Claypool, I still think they need a lot of help skill position wise.
And secondary, I think their secondary is solid,
I
but
like the Brisker kid that they drafted. He's
he's
good.
good.
Yeah,
He's
he's good.
good. Defensively, I feel like they could also be a little bit better too. So that's
Especially after you trade Khalil Mack and get
yeah.
rid of Akeem Hicks.
So that's why I'm like, so I feel like the Lions legit could build. They could be creeping up very soon. And Jared Goff this year, I'm sorry, but people cannot tell me Jared Goff has not played like a top 8 quarterback in the NFL this year.
Top 8 might be a stretch, but I definitely you
If
can't say
you
he's
look at the
played bad.
numbers,
You can't say
compare
he's played
him to
bad.
Tom Brady and most of these quarterbacks, he's played a lot better than them.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm,
I definitely can't. You definitely can't say he's been bad this year. That's for
yeah,
sure.
no,
And he was bad his last year with the Rams.
oh no, he was awful. Like that's just a fact. Like he was bad. But I'm gonna read out the stats for Tom Brady this year. Let me get his stats.
Here, I'll pull
Yeah.
up. So PFF Pro Football Focus has Goff down at number 27.
Yeah, that's stupid.
They have PJ Walker, Russell Wilson,
Ahead of
Marcus
him.
Mariota, Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Kenny Pickett, Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, Lawrence, Jimmy G. They even have Trubisky ranked ahead of him.
Exactly. Like none of those quarterbacks have played better than Jared Goff this year. I'm sorry. This is not me defending Jared Goff as like the player for everything that he's played for, but this year no one can say he
And
hasn't played good.
it doesn't get any better if you circle it through passing grade. He's still 27th, but when you look at some of the guys ahead of him, it's Davis Mills, Marcus Mariota, Carson Wentz is ahead of him.
Yeah. Like how is that possible?
Yeah, that is surprising. That is definitely surprising.
Like watch, I'm gonna read out the stats. Okay. So, all right, so I got them pulled up. So far as of okay, Tom Brady this year, he has a 66 completion percentage, 3,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, 3 picks. Jared Goff this year has 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 7 picks. And we could say this: the Lions' offense has been good. The Bucks'
Yeah.
offense, no one cannot tell me they're bad. They are awful.
Yeah, but they're not a good football team.
They're just
Like,
not good.
yeah, they're not a good football team.
That's
at
why I
all.
was like saying I think Jared Goff has been top 8 this year. If you had to like have me pick a quarterback this year, I'm taking Jared Goff over Brady.
And that's a good transition to our next topic because when I was mentioning the 4 o'clock games and the fact that we only have 3, I think Chiefs Broncos. There's absolutely nothing to watch in that game.
Nothing,
Like
bro.
there's nothing to watch. Maybe the most intriguing thing is if the Broncos could get to 10 points. Like that's the only
If
thing
they
that
can
I
get to 10 points.
yeah, if they can get to 10 points. If the Chiefs stop trying in the fourth quarter and they're like, "Oh, let these guys get their first touchdown of the game." But I personally think that this 49ers game has real potential to be really ugly for the Bucks.
It could.
And I seen the stat that Brady is 6-0 against quarterbacks making their first career start. But when you look at some of these guys on the list, it was like Luke Falk for the New York Jets. It was EJ Manuel for the Buffalo Bills. It was Matt Flynn for the Seattle Seahawks. Like it was the most random guys. And I get that Purdy is literally Mr. Irrelevant, but he's got the number 1 defense on the other side, and he's got McCaffrey and Debo.
I do have to give Purdy credit. He did play well against the Dolphins. He played well, though. But I do have to say this: no one had tape on him, and no one expected him to come into that game. So
Well, okay, which okay, I get that point, but I think the biggest thing was he wasn't deer in the headlight vibe.
yeah, he wasn't.
Like he at least he played like he belonged.
Yeah, that pass to Pickett when he was getting blitzed, that was good. It was a very good play.
And you saw some of the stories coming out this week about him.
Yeah. Oh,
His
yeah.
nickname.
Yeah.
And because that's where I got the thing, because what I was reading is that so he was the number 2 quarterback going into the season because they basically sent Jimmy Garoppolo home, and he was the scout team quarterback. So when the first team defense is getting their reps in, that's who they're facing. And then when Lance got hurt and Jimmy G went back to number one, same thing. He's still facing up against the number one defense. But even this, they were saying that he called the timeout in the third quarter, and like that takes a lot of cojones to be calling timeouts when Kyle Shanahan isn't the one telling you to call a timeout. And
Yeah.
and I remember him at Iowa State. Like that was Iowa State's most productive. He was him and Brees Hall.
Oh
That's
wow.
who. Yeah, that's
That's
who
I'm gonna
they
be
beat
honest.
Oklahoma twice.
I didn't know
Yeah,
because if someone asked me how much do you watch Iowa State, I'll be like 0.
only because of Brees Hall and Brock Purdy. That was it, and Matt Campbell. That was it.
But
He
no,
almost spun. He almost got Matt Campbell an NFL coaching job.
I could see that being a good game, but I also see I with the way this Bucks team is going in the season, I could see this being like 10-7 game and Brady somehow wins in the end. I could see it.
Yeah, like another walk-off touchdown. I can see it because it is Brady, and that's how. And like, I want to bet on it, but it's like,
But I also just know the 49ers defense is good. Like they are very good. And I believe that Nick Bosa, without Tristan Wirfs there, I expect Nick Bosa to be on that side the whole day. And
and
just
I
like
just don't think the Bucks are good. So like,
they
that's
are
my thing.
not. Like
That's my thing. So
they
why
got
am I
all these
not
wins
taking it?
because of bad teams. The Rams,
Yeah,
they're a bad team this
and
year.
the Saints are just horribly coached. Like, I don't know what
The
happened in
Saints,
that game.
great defense. Offense can't score.
I don't know what
Like how
that was.
like how you said the 49ers game. How many times were the Saints in the red
Oh
zone?
yeah, they didn't want to score in that game. They did not want to
Exactly.
score. Yeah, they did not want to score in that game.
Their offense
So
is terrible.
I honestly think that Bucks 49ers game in the late slate has real potential to get away from the Bucks. And if they get down early and the 49ers can just run the ball and
Yeah,
run the
I would
ball,
say this to 49ers. If you just score 20, I believe you win the game.
yeah,
Because the
yeah,
Bucks offense,
100%.
they barely crack 15 a game. They
Yeah.
barely crack.
But the late game that I can't wait to watch is Panthers Seahawks. I
I
think
feel
it's
like
gonna
that can be good.
I think it's gonna be up and down. And I the thing is that Carolina somehow is, because the Bucks are so bad, Carolina's like sort of kind of alive
Yeah.
in the division. And if you look at their schedule the rest of the way, they still play everybody. So they have a decent shot
If they
of
could
act.
pull off a winning streak, they're going to host a playoff game.
So if you look at their schedule, they go at Seattle, home Steelers, home Lions, at Bucks, at Saints.
Those are
So
all very winnable games.
all of them are super winnable. And I Darnold kind of has to be YOLO out there. Like, it's his only shot of getting a contract for next year. And
Yeah.
the Seahawks defensive line isn't the best.
Yeah.
So like, I think if you give him time, like, the guy can sit back there and find DJ Moore.
Yeah. No, I feel like you could. And Foreman has been really solid for them. I feel like Foreman could maybe have a big game, but I also could see Seattle just like dominating this game. That's my thing with it.
I don't know if they can dominate, because I think with Walker being banged up, that's really serious for them. And the thing that kind of scares me is that they really couldn't put away the Raiders. Like, they really couldn't put away the Raiders.
At
I get
least
that.
with the Raiders, we can say they can score.
And they have like better skill position
Yeah.
players. Like Jacobs went absolutely crazy. He's better than anybody else
Adams,
the Panthers have.
unbelievable.
Adams is way better, and Carr is way better than
Darnold.
Darnold. But still, I think that this game has a real fun potential in this one. And I already personally bet the over a couple of days ago. I got it at 41. It's moved up a little bit. I
Yeah,
would still take it.
44.5.
I would still take it because I think both these teams are just going to go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah. No, but that's good. We have some solid games week, but man, all I'm just hoping for this week, like I need to pull off this W. I need a W. Like
Yeah.
I would, for anyone that doesn't remember, we have money on the line. So the winner gets 850. Like the day they win, they get 850, and the remaining 50 that's left, because it's 10 people, $100 each. $50 is going to the trophy that's going to be shipped to them. And last year, I kind of like, when Myles like was the commissioner of this league, I kind of just steamrolled through it, mainly just because, like, I'll be honest, luck was on my side though from start to finish. But I want to win. Like, I really want to win.
Yeah, and This is your plea to the fantasy gods. Please.
Please, I
I've
just
been
want
good
to get
to
in the
you.
playoffs. Just give me a shot. I know I can win.
I've been good to you.
Like,
But
I
it's
haven't done anything. Like, I missed out on the playoffs 2 years straight with the highest scoring team in 2 leagues. Like, let that sink in.
that's so tough.
Like,
That's
2 years
so
straight,
tough.
highest scoring team. And I missed the playoffs because almost every week it's like, oh, you faced the highest scoring team of the week. Well, guess what? I'm the highest scoring team of the year. No one is coming close. Like 1 year, it was the first year I missed since like 2011. Bro, I was 400 points clear of the next person.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how it works, bro. That's how it works. That's how it works. And
God.
that'll never leave you. So I'm on your behalf. I'm hoping that you just get a victory. You don't have to sweat it out. You don't have to worry about me getting a victory.
And
Just
then if
win
I
and
do,
be
I'm
in.
probably facing you, maybe either Alex or Myles in the first round. And then I'm like, all right, then it's,
But at least that'll be fun content if you face me.
oh my God. Then it'll be like, well, guys, the fate of the podcast is in this. Just
Yeah.
know whoever wins, the loser probably won't show up.
Loser leaves town matchup.
Oh my God. No, just like saying the person who just like puts, I resigned from the podcast because of this.
Because of this fantasy outcome. That'd be hilarious.
Oh man. But no, I'm excited. At least we have some good stuff this weekend. And then we have the
Yeah.
Heisman to see who wins the Heisman this weekend.
Oh, it's got to be Caleb.
If Bennett wins this, I'm going to be
Nah.
so mad.
Nah, it's got to be Caleb Williams. I am kind of like the Heisman's now kind of like the MVP where it's only quarterbacks that get nominated.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
I guess that's just how it is in football.
yeah.
Quarterback's the predominant position, man.
If Bennett wins, I'm just going to go on a rant on Monday on why
No,
he shouldn't win.
There's no way he wins.
This man is like what 26, 27, and he walks down like the field like he's the next Patrick Mahomes, where it's like, bro, you're throwing to 5-star recruits who are going to be first-round picks in the draft.
Bro, he basically has 3 first-round tight ends right now.
Yeah, and all they do is run slants.
Yeah, the only truly impressive pass I've seen him make was in the national championship game where he hit Pickens.
Yeah,
deep, and Pickens still had to make a diving catch for it.
Yeah, that's generally it. Outside of that, he's not a good quarterback.
Yeah,
he benefits off a great team. Look at all the Alabama quarterbacks that won a national title.
No, crazy. It's and they don't do anything. And they don't do anything. Yeah, whether it's AJ McCarron, whether it was Jacob Coker that they won a national championship with, they that's how it is in college. You kind of just need that game manager. You don't need somebody you just need somebody that's not going to throw the game away for you.
Yeah. Well, but it is what it is. Well, guys, this was awesome. Myles will get back to this on Monday.
Yep.